I wanted to thank Lacey for inviting me to present today. And thanks to all of you for moving this back a little bit. I know traditionally we do it a little bit earlier, but we had a conflict, so we're doing it later in the day. So one of the things that I was asked to do is talk about the blogging conference that we had early in September or February, whatever month it is. And several of us in the room here attended the conference. There were about 20 people from USU Extension that attended, and so I invited those attendees that attended, as well as those of you that didn't attend that may be interested to know, some of the things we picked up from that conference. So that'll be the focus of our conversation today. So this conference is called Build Your Blog Conference. It was, again, February 7th and 8th at the Radisson in Salt Lake. We had about 20 folks from USU Extension attend. And one of the neat things about that conference is we were able to be a sponsor. And in doing that, we were able to have a booth. One of the evenings, they had a trade show, and we had an extension booth there. We partnered with 4-H, and we networked with a ton of bloggers. There were over 400 bloggers that attended the conference, and they were encouraged to go to all the booths. And it was just
0-0 the whole time.
It was complete mayhem, like
when
for a while.
Were doing it.
So we did lots of giveaways, and we had a big door prize that we gave away at the end, and we had the opportunity to present, talk in front of the group for a little bit. So USU Extension and 4-H was very well represented at this conference. What's neat about the conference is the organizers, the Six Sisters. They are all Utah State graduates. They love Utah State. Many of you met Camille when she came to our FCS in-service. Anyway, so we're very well received. And I pulled this picture in the bottom left because you can see that sign behind there. You can't see it very well on the slide, but that was our promotion that we did at the blog conference, letting people know about our Live Utah event that we did last week at Thanksgiving Point and in Salt Lake, as well as Baby Animal Days coming up. So USU was very visible and present, and it was a great opportunity for us to make connections and to get our name out there. So I guess the question is, what was USU Extension 4-H doing at a blog conference? And a lot of people, from my perspective, were wondering that same thing. What's higher ed doing at this conference? What do they want, what this exchange to be? And so, as I mentioned, this was the booth that we had, and 4-H had the opportunity to really showcase their Discover 4-H curriculums that I know several of you have worked on. I think we're up to 15 now.
I think she's at 19. 19 this morning. She was
19, and so one of the things we wanted bloggers to do was to download those curriculum and to do activities with their kids and give us reviews and let us know what they thought about them. And this is a photo of Stacy MacArthur and Amanda Christensen in front of the extension booth there at the conference. And then I was going to just make a note. All of the participants, so 400 bloggers, got this little giveaway with the USU measuring spoon. Yeah.
Is there any way that I'm in Emory County and I'm not seeing any of your slides? Is there a way you can fix that? I just see you, which is fine, but
okay.
I'd like to see your slides.
On your remote, right above that red phone button.
Okay. Push that.
Click on that, and it should say like share screen or equal or something.
Okay.
Now do you see it?
Just push on equal? Yes.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
That was easy. Okay. So all of the participants got this measuring spoon, and then a little postcard that had some of our upcoming events we want to partner with blogs on, and then on the back it highlighted again those 4-H Discover 4-H curriculum. So we really feel like this was a new audience for us. I would probably say the median age at the conference was like 30 or or less or fewer. I can't remember which one to use, um, but it was a young crowd. People, had their babies in their arms, and these were all bloggers that blog on a variety of topics, from cooking to do-it-yourself, home improvement, homeschooling, just a variety of things. And everyone that we talked to, we could make some kind of extension connection, and a way to partner. So it was pretty exciting. So to answer that question, what was USU Extension doing at a blog conference? Our number one priority there was to network with bloggers. And so a blog conference was new to many of us. And what happens is, at your vendor booth, bloggers will come by and talk to you, and they'll give you a media kit, which is usually a one-page flyer that says everything about them and their blog, and how many followers on Facebook they have, their areas of focus, how many page hits they get per month, unique visitors, just kind of everything about their bloggers. So it was great to network with them, and we got tons of business cards. So we've been following up with those people that we talked to at our booth. We really wanted to share the Extension and 4-H story and let people know, we're in your communities, we're doing a lot of the same things you're doing in terms of, nutrition and finance and activities for kids and sewing projects and, a lot of these things. So it was exciting to share that story with them. And then to share, our experiences and expertise. Again, we're research-backed, we're non-biased, and really a resource for the bloggers that were there. And then our secondary reason was to promote Extension, and let people know about our online resources and also events that are going on around the state. And while we're talking about events real quick, I just wanted to plug the online calendar. That is the best way that people are going to find us online, and also the best way that we on campus can market your programs. And so if you go out to the Extension website and just click on the calendar, it's the second link down. And if you go all the way to the bottom, it says schedule your event. And if you'll schedule all your events through the main Extension calendar, on step 5, it will let you filter it out, to the Emory County website, for example. So all those events will show up on extension.usu.edu. You can have them show up on the Utah 4-H website as well. And then you can filter it out to your website. So when bloggers and, even just regular, our regular clientele out in the counties are looking for our events, usually they'll come to our websites and check our calendar, or they'll do a Google search or things like that. But that allows us to also promote your events on social media. So the calendar is important.
Mike, will that be a feature that will be on the new Live Well Utah site? Will it connect to a calendar?
Yeah, so we'll add that as one of the ones people can filter out to.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's a great angle. Good question. This is something that we designed. Olivia, who's here with us, designed this for the blog conference. And it's something we've been trying to, I don't know, I have a hard time explaining what Extension is sometimes to people. And so we just decided to put it into an infograph. And I think she did a really good job. So basically we said, we've got 60 plus county faculty, 70 plus on-campus faculty. We've got 28 county offices, 4 gardens. We're on social media. We do all these different project areas, and we deliver videos, publications, classes, and events. And our purpose is to improve the quality of life for Utahns. So if you have suggestions or modifications or ideas, or you want something like this for your county, let us know. And we're happy to change it up for you. But I thought this just really gives a good perspective of what Extension is in a nutshell. I don't know. Does anyone have any feedback? Thoughts?
What size is it the most readable? Like,
We did half page, so
okay.
and that worked really well. So
So are we all getting a stack of those next week when we're on campus?
would you like a stack?
Yes.
Okay.
I think those would be great to have in our offices and to take out to booths.
Okay.
Can I get a
Great.
digital copy to
Mhm.
use in a slideshow?
Yeah. So what I'll do is after this presentation, I'll email everyone a copy. So you've got one for your file, but then we'll work on getting some printed up for annual conference that you can take home. But I thought,
Mike,
yeah,
this is Debbie in Wasatch. So we're wondering if we can use it. We're working on our website and working on creating a blog for Wasatch County. Can we have that digitally so that that could be one of the pods? Or maybe so that you could click on it to go places or something?
Yeah.
Something. We're just
you
thinking.
bet. Yeah, we probably want to modify it a little bit for a pod, but I think it'd be great even if it said, a look at USU Extension, and that was your pod, and then they clicked on here, and it had some of this stuff, and then maybe below that it listed more in detail what specifically your county offers or what's going on right now
Well,
in
and
your
then
county.
I'm looking at the topics, the project areas. They might be kind of fun, instead of having just a word that says 4-H and youth, maybe we have the icon, and they could click on icons to, like, I can't really read them, but food and nutrition, I'm thinking, agriculture. So if we had,
Can we do that?
right now on the one side, we just have the words, but it'd be kind of fun to have those
Can we
icons.
do image mapping on the current website? I don't think we can.
No, yeah. Well, I think to answer your question, we could break that that infograph up and make those links, and people can click out. So yeah, if there's different ways you want to use this concept, it's all digital, and we can rework it however you want. If you wanted a full page, and if you wanted more information about your county below or your contact information, let me know and we'll work this up. This was like super last minute, and Olivia and I sat down and just punched it out and kind of guessed on the numbers, and I think I checked with Steve Broadbent after we printed them, but he said they look good. So I don't know. We were in a jam, so I ended up just counting people's names on a list and whatever. But I think it shows kind of what we do in a really easy to understand way.
Right.
So I'm just keep letting you know of that. So now we're going to jump in a little bit to specific blog conference sessions, and this is where those of you that attended the conference, we will talk a little bit about just lessons that we learned and things that we really enjoyed. But the blog conference sessions are available online, so you can watch them, and there's also handouts and things like that. So this is the URL and the password if you're interested in looking at that information. So, and let me just jump out to that website because I had a hard time finding where you actually put in the password. So it'll take you to this website, and on the right here it says audio and video recordings from the conference, and then this is where you'll put in that 2014 BYBC, and then from there it should open up.
So, Mike, the password was 2014 BYBC.
Yeah.
So, and go back to that screen, or just tell us what the URL was.
Yeah, so just tinyurl.com, BYBC 2014.
Thank you.
So, thank you. So now we're going to have a little bit of interaction, and this is where the meeting will become more informal, I guess. And I'm just going to go through. So basically, at the conference, they had 3 sessions going on at the same time, and many of us split up to do different things and go attend different sessions. So I asked those that attended the blog conference, I invited them to this call, and just to share ideas and different things that they had enjoyed from the conference. So maybe before we open it up and kind of dive into the sessions, if there's any just feedback people have generally from the conference, impressions or opportunities or things that they thought were great they want to share with the group, let's open it up that way. So let's see, Lacey was there, and Megan, and then those of us in the room were here, I think. Is there any kind of thoughts you guys had from the conference? Or
I thought it was great because we are just getting ready to launch this blog for Extension. Can you hear me? And we're kind of beginning and new at this, and so I felt like it was just really helpful with those sessions, just as an overall overview for us to kind of know what direction to take and what worked for different people. We were able to network with people, and I just felt like it was very useful and helpful. As I'm just beginning at this, so for me, to get that overview was very helpful.
I've been blogging personally for a really, really long time, but not seriously. And there was a ton of really good technical information on tools and software and websites that can help kind of streamline and make blogging easier that I wish I'd had forever ago. But I just felt it did, experience level and all that, there was just something for everyone there.
Right.
And I just think that a lot of people have found easy ways to do things, and let's start doing the easy, let's start off with that and not the hard way. For sure.
Are you talking about specific ones? Like, so if we can go watch these sessions, which ones specifically gave those tips?
I think a lot of them had those kinds of tips in them. Beginning blogging was fantastic for getting started, I thought.
Yes, very helpful.
Yeah, just go through it and maybe even watch it more than once, take notes, because you're going to have to do things step by step. And so watch it and do the few things that strike you, and then watch it again and do the next few things. But it had a lot of really good information on it. And then I ended up accidentally, or being kind of pushed out of the one I wanted to go to into not the Google Plus, but the Twitter conference. I had no interest in Twitter. I have an aversion to Twitter. It was fascinating, and I have used one of the little tools that they recommended on there. Is called hootsuite.com. It's HOOTSUITE.com, and it lets you take all those things, Twitter and Google Plus and Facebook, and it's all on their one page, and you can see everything new that's happened on your account, and anyone who's mentioned you is right there, and everything's right in one place, so you don't have to go visit Twitter and then go visit Facebook and then go visit your Google Plus page. Everything's all right in one place, and you can respond to people, and you aren't missing comments and things that you need to do. That was hugely helpful, I think. We've set it up for 4-H, but not started really using it. But you can also schedule through using that, and that's the Twitter. I thought was maybe the most important information we got from Twitter was just that you can schedule things out so that you don't have to be on the social media all day, that kind of thing. So those were the most helpful ones for me, I felt like.
Go ahead. I felt like the Twitter one also just showed how that can really complement blogging. And if, like I said, we're all new to this, and so I think that gave us a compelling reason to want to get involved with Twitter, just to tweet out things that are on the blog. So I thought that was very helpful too.
For me, kind of overall, with my background in marketing and recently, attending Utah State and studying marketing, I was really impressed with, not just one session, but a lot of them with basic marketing strategies that they reiterated. A call to action, whether it's YouTube or Facebook or whatever, but to engage your users. Emotion, striking the emotion, and how you get them involved. So I think you can see those type of things, and you'll see them. I'm assuming we're going through are we going to go through specific sessions?
Yeah, we'll go by sessions and then just feedback. So
yeah, I just thought overall it was a fabulous conference, and for me that kind of gave me some extra validity, because I don't know, I kind of am one of those people that I want to know people's background. I want to know what they're educated in. And so, well, the Six Sisters have been successful, but what's their education and background? And so for me, it brought validity to the whole conference.
And I think that I went to the beginning blogging class, and I think it was a great, if you don't know anything about blogging, which I don't, like, I think it's a really good, it'd be a good video to watch because it was actually taught by the Six Sisters. So you got, like, their opinion on everything, and it touched on everything, like Twitter and all the social media. So that was really good, and it just touched on technical stuff and design stuff. It touched on everything. And then I think the other classes kind of zoomed in on specifics, but the beginning blogging just kind of covered everything, so I thought that was a really good class.
Great. I attended the 10 ways to get traffic to your site. Does anyone know Julie?
She's my neighbor. Miss Debbie.
I know, she was looking for you.
I know.
You're like our secret weapon.
She's fun. We need to have her come to something. She would come, and
Yeah.
we could ask her. She was wondering. I was just at her house the other day, and she said, "Yeah, I looked for you, but I skated down the mountain the night before, and I couldn't make myself do it." I said, "Yeah." She actually said, "If I hadn't had to teach, I wouldn't have gone either."
Well, I picked up your goodie bag for you anyway.
Thank you. So I can come see you next week?
Yep.
All right.
Whatever's left is yours. So, but can you tell us a little bit about her? I mean, you obviously know her.
What do you want to know about her? Her background is marketing. One of the reasons she used to work for
Good Things Utah. Good Things Utah.
Good Things Utah, and she hated that drive, so she was trying something else so that she'd have to drive to Salt Lake every day. She is a recovering alcoholic and is doing well, and she has a book coming out this summer that tells her story, and it really is an amazing story. She has a daughter and a daughter-in-law that work with her on the blog now. She said that she does all the main posts, and then her daughter and daughter-in-law do the Facebook and the other kinds of things, and they do the pictures and all that kind of stuff. But she started out One Good Thing, and basically she does everything she reports on everything that we kind of do.
Yeah, she's still in our stuff, Debbie. She loves your laundry soap, right?
It's Teresa's laundry soap. She's the one, hey, she's been good to me. She put the soups or sauce mix on, and that year we had 100,000 hits. So she took care of us. And then last year we had 25,000 hits, and nobody even talked about it.
Well, that's awesome. And she's very dynamic. So she was the producer of Good Things Utah, and in her story that she kind of told us, she said, I wanted to do something else and be my own boss. And she said, by the time I had enough money, so her goal was to make enough money on her blog to replace her income. And she said as soon as she was able to do that, she put in her 2 weeks notice and quit her job. And
it was pretty fast. It was pretty fast. Yeah.
And she's got 80 to 100,000 unique visitors a day, 5 to 7 million views per month on her blog. 5 to 7 million. That's huge. And she's very, very good at what she does. She posts every day. She's crazy.
She does it at midnight.
Yeah.
She's one of those people that stays up late, and she posts at like 12:01 so that it goes on the next day, because she's a night person. And she said she's working on a website because a blog is just continuous, and so she's working on right now putting the most, because she's been doing it for 2 years, and she is getting the most, the one that has the most hits, she's putting on a website so that you can go directly to that post, if that makes sense. I thought, we have the website, we just need the blog to tell people where it's at on the website.
Yeah, well, and this is interesting. This is her website, and one of her things that she talked about a ton in her presentation was the laundry solutions. And so she's got, I mean, it's really simple. Her website, just recipes. There's 4 drop downs, cleaning solutions. You guys probably can't see that very well, but she just has health and beauty, laundry, and she talked a lot about the laundry stuff. And how many posts can you do about laundry?
Apparently a lot.
The other thing she said the other day is that the ones that amaze her are, she will do a post on something and she'll think, oh, I'm going to get a lot of controversy on that one, and it won't. And then she'll put something simple and the world shows up and says, what? So you have to be, she said she has a really hard time with the negative people, that you have to figure out how to deal with them.
Yeah. Anyway, she's a good one. That was a really good presentation, and even just getting to know some of these people's blogs and looking at them. I think it's important for us to be looking at blogs and to see what people are writing about, what's relevant, and things that we may have tucked away in the filing cabinet or something. It might be time to resurrect and just put a new spin on it with some photos and would make a great blog post or a newsletter article, or different things like that. But I was just amazed, I mean, I don't know how many posts on here about laundry. I mean, there's dozens. So, did anyone go to Power of Social Media?
I did. And it was awesome. Let me find my notes. Yeah, this was a fantastic session. They really went through a lot of important content that I feel like is, I mean, it applies to all of it. They talked about to increase the power of whatever, whether it's blogging or Facebook or whatever that we're doing, that we need to have better content so it's easy to share. So your content is important. Let's really think about that and optimize now, like experience-based blogging. So making sure that they can do something with it. They talked about the power of emotion, that there needs to be, that it's more effective if it involves emotion. They went through like all of the different media outlets for social marketing. So they talked about Facebook and Pinterest, Twitter, all of them, kind of an overview. And there was a couple things that kind of stood out to me, which I thought was interesting. Facebook, they said the new trend for Facebook is news articles, which you see that there's a lot of news articles posted, where Facebook used to be not so much news. That's the trend with Facebook right now. Twitter is about conversation, so getting people to talk in those quick little hashtags and things. Google Plus is about authorship. Instagram, of course, is trendy and imagery, and YouTube, anything goes. And they said that YouTube really is the future of more podcasting and building your own channel. That YouTube's huge, and that's also the second largest search engine. So whatever we can tie in with YouTube will increase those hits even more. They did suggest one thing, which I think it was recommended in one of the other sessions that Barbara has implemented with our state 4-H office, is scheduling, to make sure that you schedule the posts, whatever they are, that in optimal times. And I think, what did they recommend?
Well, it's different depending on your audience. So they say that you should look for when you get your most hits and things. It's all scientific, but basically, they said for most blogs, what I heard was that Mondays and Tuesdays are your highest, and afternoons. But some people's audiences are most active on the weekends, and so you really have to find out when people kind of experiment and see when you get the most comments back, the most likes, the most interest in what you're posting, and then just make sure that's the time that you're doing it from then on. So I guess you just really have to experiment.
I know. Oh, go ahead.
Some of the blogs that I follow, they just, I know that they post on Tuesday and on Thursday.
Right.
And I like it enough that I just go
right. And
when
that's
it's going to come out.
They did say
they said
consistency.
just be consistent.
Yeah. Once you find out what's working for you, obviously, then be consistent.
Right. They talked about the importance of data, which I don't really think we need to go over, but and then also WordPress versus Blogger, using those different programs, which I know in beginning Blogger, I think that they said use Blogger. In this session, they said use WordPress. That it's customizable, it deals with hosting is free. They highly recommended WordPress, which is different than what the other session said. So.
Yeah, they conflicted with that.
I don't know.
Basically, the only reason that they said Blogger was though because it's super easy to get started, not because there's
just
Right.
to start with
The
it
ease
and
of-
then move to
yeah.
WordPress.
It's just easy for someone who doesn't know what they're doing to get started on Blogger. But yeah.
So
We have a question, Mike. This is Debbie. On blogs for extension, on the website, we have specific way we want it to look. On blogs, are we going to have a specific way we want it to look?
Yeah, so we'll want to work together on the design and just logo placement and things like that, just to be consistent. So we can talk offline about that.
What is the Living Well blog going to use?
We're going to use WordPress.
Okay.
WordPress just has better SEO built into it. Just comes up better in the rankings. That's why they're telling every blogger to use it now. And blogging and social media go hand in hand. We're going to kind of talk about that a little bit later. But because so many people are involved with social media, it's the best way to get your information out there. And one of the things they mentioned in this class is although blogging's been around for a little bit, it's really gained a lot of momentum lately, and there's, we all know that newspapers and different forms of information are struggling and going by the wayside because everyone's online so much. And so the fact that, we're getting a blog started right as this is about to take off and really explode and be a source of information, I think is, yay for you guys. I'm excited. Let's get in it
Awesome.
while we can.
Thanks, Megan. I think we'll jump out to the second session. Are there any ones here people want to chat about? I went to the Google Plus session, and there was a lot of information that I'm not going to bore you with.
There are also, they've been doing, have you seen, like once a week, they're doing a Google Plus class on Google Plus.
Oh, okay.
That I can send people links to if you want, that they've been really interesting to kind of.
So they're saying kind of Google Plus is on the horizon as like the next big thing to replace, Facebook. and all these things. And it's still kind of new for us anyway, and we've chosen to put our focus onto Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram for USU Extension right now, but we're going to keep our feet wet in Google Plus, but that's not something we're really pushing right now. We're still using those traditional medium, but it is something we're going to keep our eye on because it's gaining momentum, and his class, he was like, well, it's Google, that's why you want to do it, which has some sense to it, but it's also, I think it's a little bit cumbersome in the times I've used it, but I think as we become more familiar with it, it's going to be one of those things that's going to take off and we're going to want to follow. But
it is tied to YouTube now so much that you can't actually do anything on YouTube without having a Google Plus. So.
Right, and I think Julie mentioned that in her presentation. She's like, Google Plus is Google. She's like, that's all I have to say. And I get it. I'm on it. I use it mainly just for posting what's new on my site and seeing what other people post. But I'm on it, just kind of like we're going to be on it. But they also tell you to always be where your audience is. And we're finding different social media that we're on. We're putting focus into different ones because that's where our audience is. And we want to keep building there instead of spreading ourselves out to everywhere.
And then in terms of photography for our blog, we've got some ideas of how that's going to look. And we'll talk a little bit more about that.
I went to the photography class, and I don't really know if it like applies as much to us, but
there were some great tips. If you want to be able to take better pictures, even personally, there are some great, but I didn't feel like it was about photography for blogging as much as just general photography advice, which was great.
It was, and I think it was a lot about photography in your like personally and like in your own home, and but it has great tips.
There were just two things that I took away from that session that would apply, and one was to show action, show the story. So if you're taking pictures for your county, to not just take one picture of the end product, but to show the story, do more than one. The sequence. And then they also said as far as Pinterest, and it totally makes sense, that the collages get repinned more. So
and
putting those together.
Longer pictures.
Yeah. And I just think like good photography in general is so huge. Like I was on the Six Sisters Stuff website or their blog the other day, and if you go back to their very first posts, you can just tell like they like didn't know what they were doing, and obviously like I wouldn't want to pin something that looked like that, and you can tell it was just a digital camera. But I think photography is really huge, and like how good it does look, and how good you make the food look, and
I mean, look at that. It's a green square with some words on it, so you can make things work.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. We're also going to talk a little bit more next week about photography, but I agree with Pinterest being so huge. Photography is important, for sure.
So I have a question, and maybe the counties would too, like with our office, and I wondered about the photography. We send, I'm not there, Barbara's not there, we can't have Dennis at every event. So the people that are taking the pictures of certain things, are Craig and Stacy, and and maybe it's similar in your offices. So how do we teach people to take good pictures? Do you know what I mean? Like maybe that's something that I'm struggling with. I don't know if you guys have that concern, or is that just here at the state?
I think that would be a great addition to training because I think people statewide need that. But we also need to do it as a team approach where we're focusing on an end product, and this is why we're teaching this, is because this is how we're going to use these pictures, and this is how you can get involved.
So would you say most of the counties, or would most of you be interested in a photography type training?
I think so, because we're all taking pictures, and if we knew a little bit more about how to take it at the right angle, or the process, or the tips that you're talking about, getting some specific help and information, I think it would be very beneficial.
Okay.
Mike and I have talked a little bit about this for the presentation next week, and I do have some great pictures and some slides to really show you kind of a before and after, or here's a way and then here's another way, or a better way, which is simply staging and finding your light and stuff, but it's really simple. So hopefully next week we can answer some of those questions better.
That sounds great.
And we've talked about this in great length, like entire conversations just about photography, because it's going to make or break our blog and our whole image. And I mean, it's our face. No one cares about the content if the image isn't captivating. And so internally, we're trying to figure out how to do that because of our geographic distance, and there's some obstacles with our different skill sets and styles, and but it's a core foundation for the success of this project. So one of the things I'm going to send out in an email later today, and that those of you who are on the call, is if you've got sewing projects or demo stuff or whatever it may be that you could bring up to annual conference for us to photograph, maybe it's bottled peaches or emergency preparedness stuff, or fill up a tote with just stuff that we could photograph. So I'm talking about just images of, what am I trying to say? Object images that we could use. And then there would be some consistency in what we're taking pictures of, in terms of lighting and style and all those things that will go into making a great photo. So maybe if you just look around your office or look in your files and say, these are some patterns or different things that I want to have photographed. Bring those up, and during annual conference we'll go ahead and photograph those, and we'll worry about the content later. But let's start building up a little photo library, and then at some point we're going to have to figure out how we're going to do food, and we may end up hiring someone that will give recipes, and they'll photograph it and do it along the way, and then have a great finished product. So we're trying to figure out logistically how to do that, so that our stuff looks great and appeals to our audience, because I mean, the photography is key, the visual.
Along with that, with your photography idea is photography also, we need to make sure that we're following that we're with the current trends of photography and what's appealing. You say we want to make sure it looks appealing. Well, we want to always keep current, and so just making sure that we're focusing on what's new, what are people looking for, that sort of thing. Make sure that it is reflected in our photography, in our pictures.
Yeah,
rather than having something, okay, I took a picture of this skirt, that we made, and we took a picture 15 years ago. Well, the way that it is presented in the picture is going to be much different 15 years later than it was 15 years ago. It might be this very same project, just like you're talking laundry detergent or things that we need to, pull out of the closet and repurpose. Just that the picture is the thing that's going to repurpose it. The recipe can be the same thing or the instructions, but it's the picture that's going to bring it to current stage.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Margie. And I hesitate in I don't know. That's not your job to take the pictures, and we're not going to really be asking anyone to do that. As we're putting this blog together, we really want to rely on the agents to provide content, and then let us figure out, how we're going to photograph it and do all that, because it's kind of that, it's one more thing that not everyone needs to be trained how to do, and it's probably not necessary. And we may get a whole roll of photos or file, and we may not be able to use any of them because of, like we're talking about, they may not be the right trend or the style. So, so we want to be sensitive to the photos and let us kind of worry about that, but we want your feedback and your expertise on the content.
Mike, on the pictures though, sometimes it's the moment. Is there something that we can do?
Right.
I mean, I think we need to know in the moment kinds of things.
More of that.
And is a cell phone camera, can it do a decent picture?
Well, I think that there are tips that can make it more usable than it would be otherwise, and I think so. I mean, that's something that Sherry and I are working on too for 4-H. Kind of how to take a picture that we can use, and maybe it won't be one that we can use blown up as a poster, but the counties have been really good to respond to us with photos for a few of the projects we've had, and really we've gotten some fantastic photos. And so maybe just having a better idea of what to take a picture of and what to look for, how to frame it. would make it a little bit easier on you. But I do think, at least for some of the projects we've been working on lately, those, if we hadn't had the counties respond, we couldn't have gotten the kinds of pictures we needed. So we really appreciate that from you guys.
Mike, this is Gaylen. I was just thinking about after school program pictures, like you'd want to take pictures of kids during their activities. Is that something you would want to include on a blog?
Well, I think it depends, and I think traditionally what we get is people are covering an event and they're taking pictures and we're getting pictures of the event, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of back of people's heads, you know, different things. And so one of the keys to taking really good photos is having the end in mind of what you're going to use it for. So I pulled these up, and kind of the way that they've staged them, you can see that they had it in mind to add text on top of the photo at the top or the bottom. You know, like the Andy's Mint one, if they would have taken a picture just of the bowl, the middle of the bowl, there really doesn't lend itself room to add a caption or to add text over it. So that's something we're working on in our office, is thinking about the end, like how that's going to be used and framed. And I think if we come up with some guidelines, you know, like we try and keep the object in the top right-hand corner, like this one, for example, with some text to play around. And then we can turn it over to Olivia, our graphic designer, and she can give it that touch that's going to make it look like it's in the same family. But sometimes I think with events, you almost need to stage stuff, or say, hey, everybody stop. You know, can we capture this moment, instead of like trying to hover over their head. And so it takes a little bit of planning, and it's more than just point and shoot. But I think, you know, we can come up with some training guidelines, and if you capture the moment, yeah, that's what we want.
You know, I think that goes right along with what I mentioned earlier about striking emotion, and that's something on the 4-H end of things that we really want to be telling us. I mean, it's a little bit different, I think, than the extension blog, that we really want to focus on what 4-H, like that story and the emotion. So I definitely would be interested in pictures of youth participating and engaging.
Another resource, which I think Mike and I have talked about as well, is Family Share, their site, which they were at the conference too. They only use stock photos for all of their blog posts, and they add their text on top of it. So maybe if you're looking for an emotion of a youth or child and you don't need to worry about permission from their parents or safety or anything like that, they only use stock photos on that site, which you can see for all of their blog posts.
Right. Yeah, we've used stock photos with some of our information. The thing for us, I guess, I really like them to be marketed with those kids that are actually 4-H, and they're in their 4-H t-shirts, and we can't find stock photos that are they're like 50 years old, it looks like, you know, so it's a little bit different.
We're just telling a different story with our blog. I think we have a completely different audience and purpose with our blog maybe than the Live Well blog, and so we're kind of looking from a different angle maybe, but
I think still the photography's
yeah, we still want great photography.
Because we'll have a great photo, and we'll have like one kid that's not smiling, or like a junky truck in the background.
You remember that picture?
And it's like, what do we do with that photo? So if it were staged and it was like, hey, can you like change your attitude or maybe step over here? You know?
You're not smiling, you go out of the picture.
And so even internally, we've said, you know, we'll send someone out to do a photo shoot for our magazine, and it'll come back and the photos are great, but there's like a line going through the back of someone's head or a collar, because the photographer is so caught up in like the lighting and the angle that he's not looking, he doesn't know how it's going to be used in the magazine and how we need it cropped and how we were going to put a byline right here, and that, you know. So now we're sending 2 people out to photo shoots, like one to kind of art direct and say, yeah, you know, we're going to use this for a brochure, and we need the background blurry, like in the top right corner, and then the photographer can worry about the photography stuff. But anyway, I think we've kind of made our point with that, but I don't want to burden anyone with saying you need to go do photos, but initially I think we'll kind of take care of that as much as we can, but we want your help we want you to be involved as much as you want to be, but we don't want to burden you with that.
And we did kind of talk about that in a meeting, that if there are those who are really interested, we're asking for your content, but we don't want to burden you with the photos. But if there are those who are really interested in photography and want to send us some great shots, then that's wonderful. But we don't want to require it or make people feel like it's one more thing that they have to do, because we know that you're very taxed already. So.
And same thing with the content. We're hoping that it's just stuff that you've presented before, or that's been in a newsletter and things like that we can repurpose. So I know our time's up. I just wanted to share a couple of other things. Well, first of all, just encourage you to go out to that Build Your Blog website and check out those handouts and presentations if time allows. But this is a look at a draft of the Livewell, Utah blog that Olivia's designed. Again, very clean, white space, simple. Pictures are easy to pin. If you have feedback on that, please let us know. We are in all the social media channels as Livewell Utah, so if you look for us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Pinterest, you'll find us at Livewell Utah. And Megan, I'm going to give you just kind of a few minutes, and then just a reminder about March 4th at 1 o'clock. We'll be meeting in the Eccles Conference Center, and that's where we're really going to dive in and actually get some posts done. So go ahead, Megan.
So is that part of the FCS pre-in-service thing?
Yeah.
Or
yeah,
no?
we've got the first hour or so. So if you're signed up to come to that.
And this is Ann, and we will be sending out the schedule for that day. Mike and Megan are on first, and will be from 1 to 2:30.
Thanks, Ann.
I know we're out of time, so I will hurry through this, and we will be talking, expounding more on this next week, including a lot which has already been said about, using emotion and that call to action and stuff, and how a blog post is different than a fact sheet or some other things that we've been doing. So can you hit my next slide, Mike? Thanks. Okay. So I mentioned before, blogging and social media do go hand in hand. And 72% of all internet users are on social media. So that is a huge number, and it's the best way to reach your audience. And like we talked about, social media is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, Google+, all those outlets. We have put a focus on Instagram and Pinterest for now. A lot of bloggers, and Julie mentioned it in her class, 90% of her traffic comes from Pinterest, and I can attest for that as well. It's amazing what Pinterest has done. And they started in the fall of 2010 and have 20 million active users. I think there's like 70 million worldwide, but as far as active, they have 20 million. The average person spends 14 minutes a visit, and that is huge. I think YouTube is like 17 minutes a visit, but they predict that Pinterest will overtake that. And that's just a visit. A lot of who our audience is visits more than one time a day. So if we have content on Pinterest that can be seen, it can get repinned and our traffic can go up. People will see, not just here in Utah or the nation, but also worldwide. So why are blogs so popular? Readers are looking for knowledge. It's in the casual way, which we had talked a little bit about. It's the approachable. It's I want to know someone's background. I have an interest in who this person is. It's the DIY, the how-to, and the facts, but it's coming across as someone's experience. And I tried this laundry soap, and this is what I thought, and this was my experience with it, instead of just handing them the recipe for the laundry soap. They want to connect with who is writing the blog. And that can be through commenting, through following on social media, through following your site, or what we call lurking, which means they're a follower, but they just don't interact or engage. And because people are interested in people, that's why blogs are so popular. We have magazines and newspapers that you can't interact with that celebrity, but Twitter, I mean, every celebrity that's on there, they will comment back to their people. When could you ever approach your favorite celebrity or singer or author and have them actually respond back to you? That's why people love social media so much. So who are we targeting for our audience with our site, with the blog, is the women aged 18 to 45. Those are the ones that are most involved on their phone and online and connected through social media. These are mothers and businesswomen. So they are reading at nap time and before bedtime in the evening. I know someone in Logan mentioned, you know, the different spikes in traffic, that it's Monday and Tuesday and that it's in the afternoon. I see one of my biggest spikes on Sundays for sure, especially as it goes into Sunday evening. And I can get on social media and let's take Super Bowl Sunday, for example. All the women are saying, my husband's watching the Super Bowl and I'm on Pinterest, you know, for 2 hours. It's amazing. So I think Sundays can be a family day where people are online looking for recipes to cook for the rest of the week, or what should we have tonight, or a dessert, or a kids activity for the afternoon, or I'm planning preschool, or I just need a new project. So we will kind of figure out when our readers are on, but if you just think about maybe the average mommy or the average businesswoman, when does she have time? If she's working all day, she might hit it in the morning, and then definitely when her day is done in the evening. So those that are reading blogs, they're looking to improve themselves. They're looking to be inspired, they're looking to connect, and they're looking for doable, relatable content. They want to know that you've tried it and that maybe you made some mistakes, or this is what I learned, because that makes them feel like, oh, I can try it too. That it came across in a way that was approachable. Was that all I had, Mike? I can't remember.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, so that was just a quick, brief, kind of get you thinking about how to take your already amazing content. I've been through some of the archives. I'm really excited to be able to help you guys take what you've already done, put that great pinnable picture with it, and just add a few sentences at the top of, you know, if it's a 4-H project, you know, it's like, this is something that I love to do with my kids, and it can be done in 30 minutes. And my kids love to pick the fabrics. You go on to what you need, you go on through the steps, and that's all that you need. You've already put together the content. We just need to add that emotion, add that call to action, and that little bit of this is who I am personality to it.
Thanks, Megan. And thanks to all of you for joining us. Are there any questions or comments you have before we sign off? Great. Well, if not, like I said, please bring up things that you'd like to have photographed. Even if it's not for the blog specifically, you can bring up other stuff. And we'll see you, those of you that have signed up, next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. So thanks, you guys. Have a great rest of the week.